everybody, welcome to my most favorite autumn dessert recipe that I adore because the apples are now in season. They are in abundance and they're so delicious and nutritious. I'm going to share with you a very unique apple crumble in the way that it's dairy free, it's gluten free, and it's refined sugar free, and it has a very light, grounding, warm taste to it. So for this recipe you're going to need lots of apples. I've collected apples from different houses as they leave them in boxes outside for free to collect. I love the abundance of apples in October. So this is another amazing seasonal and traditional in the UK. Apple crumble, apple pie is such a well-known dessert to have. There's a lot to be said about apples. Now, it's really interesting because autumn season is when ether and air is in more movement and excess. Well, that means that we can have tendencies to feel bloated, we can feel more anxiety if we have anxiety tendencies, we can have erratic sleep. Ether and air needs more grounding during this time. And when we do this, when we integrate this through the medicine of food, because every food comes from nature, contains the elements, and when we start to feel in and tune into these elements, we start to feel food from a place of higher states of consciousness, abundance, and we tune into the rhythm of the seasons, the rhythm of the elements, that's manifesting in our bodies, because those elements, ether, air, fire, water, earth, they all reside within the body, within the environment, within the mind. So, back to the way we start feeling into this with food. Before I go into it, make sure to give this video a like or subscribe, share with those you feel, share my video with those you feel that are going to benefit and are passionate about the body, about health, about vitality, about being in balance, eating from a place of love. Also, if you want to take a deeper dive into feeling, receiving these elements from food, from nature, through your heart, and start tuning into the rhythm, your own rhythm, and start creating this loving relationship with food and your body, which enhances every other relationship in your life, enhances your sensuality as a woman, enhances your relationship with nature, enhances your relationship with abundance, with receiving from your business, receiving from nature, receiving vitality. You know, we're often conditioned, especially the fitness industry, has conditioned women into doing the exercise, doing the food, counting the calories, breaking down the macros. And there's a place for it. I'm not undermining it yet. The true transformation for your body as a woman happens when we start receiving nourishment, when we start tuning into our own divine rhythm through the elements, which is awakening this ancient knowledge that has been passed on by sages through thousands of years of observation, observing the body, observing consciousness, is awakening. And we are moving and shifting into this way of taking care of our bodies, which is more heart-centered, which is more connected to nature, consciousness. And so if you want to take a deeper dive into this, I have an amazing sacred nourishment journey, I call it, Enter Your Temple. And in this journey, I share 4 activations, deepening questions, and they are all interconnected to different phases of food, different phases of nature and the elements. And you might be thinking, what is all this going to do to me? It's going to awaken your natural rhythm. It's the gateway. So I do this privately with my clients. If that's something that you desire, private mentorship, contact me through my email, through my website, which you can find below, as well as you can find the link to Enter Your Temple. Back to the apples. Ether and air is very intense in apples. In fact, if you put apples in a big bowl of water, they'll float because they contain ether and air. They're light. However, when we cook them, they caramelize. And when we add spices to them, they become even more medicinal. One of the ways to start supporting your gut in this season is to cook apples. You don't need to add coconut sugar to it. You can add some nutmeg, cinnamon. I'm going to cook the apples so you can see what I'm doing in a little moment. But you can have cooked apples in the morning in a small bowl after you've had your hot water and herbal tea to nourish your gut before you have your main breakfast. They are so beneficial. It's such a simple remedy. It's often underestimated, you know. And so we are coming back to simplicity. We are coming back to nature's way. On that note, for the full recipe, go down below. As always, I may tweak and change things. I evolve, my recipes evolve in the moment, and let's get going. So the first thing we're going to do is peel all these apples. I've got 3.5 kilos here, so this is going to be a huge crumble. For the crumble on top, we're going to use oat flour, buckwheat flour, something called vegan block that I love, organic, natural, made from coconut oil, vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, fresh ginger. What's fresh ginger doing in crumble? You'll see in a moment. And we're going to put some crumbly crushed walnuts on top. So, on that note, let's go. This is the most, let's say, labor intense side of the recipe, because once the apples are peeled and they're cooked, the rest is super easy. Simply, if you're someone who experiences or suffers from a bloated gut, belly, especially in this season, which I hear so much from women, it's very common, then favor cooked apples rather than raw apples, because this is the science of nature. Like attracts like, opposites balance. Ether and air are light, and what you want to do is create a bit more grounded heaviness in your food. So one of the ways to do that is introduce the fire element to the apples, where they cook and they alchemize into becoming more heavy, grounded, sweet, creamy, nourishing. Woo! Okay, so this one's a bit bruised. That's okay. It's normal. These apples have been given to us by different households. They're probably, some of them have fallen off the tree. Those perfectly polished apples that you see on the stalls that are really shiny, they are full of pesticides. They've been sprayed. This is why it's so important to eat things that are in season. When we eat food that are in season, They contain so much more richness and nutritive quality. Making love to an apple crumble with some coconut cream on top and some homemade blueberry sauce. Yum, yum. And this one's a bit bruised. It's okay, just take that off. We have chopped our apples. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. We're gonna add 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of coconut sugar. Oh, cinnamon. My favorite spice for desserts, for the winter. Oh, it's so sweet and woody. And if you haven't heard about one of my activations called Spice Seduction, it is designed and created to awaken the sensual intelligence in your body, in your mind, and connect you with the spices in a brand new way. Because spices are medicinal messages that give us health, vitality, and they increase our libido, our sexual desire. That is available in Enter Your Temple. That's one of the activations. So we're going to put 1 teaspoon. Oops! Ooh, that's more 2.5, but it doesn't matter. 2 teaspoons. Nutmeg. Nutmeg is so intense, so we want to be careful with this one. Oh, 1/4 of a teaspoon. So strong. Nutmeg is like, whew, you want to watch out. And then vanilla. This is such a great vanilla. We want, 1.5, I would say. We want, you can use lemon as well if you prefer. I'm going to use lime, so I would say 1, 2. The smell of lime. And we are going to grate some fresh ginger. We have everything in here ready to go. Mix everything together. Place it on there, lid, and we are going to let that be. For this crumble, we're going to use oat flour, buckwheat flour, some coconut sugar, vanilla, of course. How can you not? Cinnamon, just a little bit. Let's mix everything. I want to melt that. Once we cook the apples, we're going to leave them to one side to cool down. Because if we put the apples hot and then you add the dough crumble on top, it's going to make the crumble really soggy. I have found that you get a more crumbly texture with that. And of course, you want to preheat your oven. Oop. I'm using a spoon now because it's hot, so just going to give that some time to cool down before I dip into it with my hands and set the intention. Oops! Forgot to add the baking powder, not a problem, just add it now. Okay, this is cool enough now, so it's time to use your hands to bind everything. I don't think I'm going to need water with this. Let me see. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we go. Yes, that feels good. The apples are ready. I think it needs to cool down a bit more. Oh, I love it. So we're going to add a little bit of sea salt, Himalayan salt, like this, on top. Secret ingredient. Let that do its magic. Now we're ready to add the crumble on top. Ooh! We like extra crumble. The biscuit on top. There we go. Ooh, look at this. And then the glorious walnuts. This is ready to go into the oven. This cooked in the oven for 25 minutes, preheated at 190, and I've allowed it to cool down, and I'm going to now serve. But before we do that, I'm going to make a very delicious coconut cream to go on top. Yes, it's a little bit of extra fat, but I absolutely love this cream. The key is that you keep the coconut cream in the fridge overnight so it separates from the water. This is an organic one that I get, which I really love. It's absolutely delicious. So many other things you can do with coconut cream, but that's for another time. We're going to add 1 teaspoon, I know I'm using a big spoon, but it's actually a teaspoon of vanilla in there. Of course we want the vanilla in there. And some sea salt. Himalayan salt. Cut the lime. I love the smell of lime. It's so fresh. And then we are going to blend this. So as you saw, I added the lime, the sea salt in there, but forgot to add the honey. You can use maple syrup as well, if you wish. Let's just close this. This has got to be the messiest coconut cream I've ever made. Right, so I haven't got maple syrup, but you can use just a tiny bit of the coconut water from the coconut cream, and then you close it. Goodness, it's gone everywhere. I have made a terrible mess, but that's okay. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's divine now, it's ready. And when you put this back in the fridge, it will obviously thicken again. Oh my God. Ooh. Look at this, baby. Move this behind me. The most amazing crumble ever. So we're going to add our cream on top. Or you can put it on the side. Let's enjoy. This is the best apple crumble recipe. Yum.